Hi, I'm Casey. I am an illustrator, a webcomic artist, and a podcaster, and a casual streamer to basically all of those things. I'm on a couple of drawing shows. One's called Art Corner. Once a month, we all get a group of friends. We get on an art stream for a couple hours, and we just cause all sorts of chaos. And then I am a recurring guest on a show that Emily's about to tell you about, and also do some podcasting on stream.
Yeah, I'm Emily, also known as Swan, also known as a Swan named Emily all across the internet. It's easy to remember. I run the Doodle Crew, which is the art show that Casey was talking about. So it's a bunch of rotating artists. We pick different topics and we stream. We wrapped our season 4, so there are 80 episodes that you can check out over on YouTube. But it was very much out of the same. I missed working in a studio with my art friends, so I wanted to collect everybody together. So I started streaming during the pandemic. So I'm an illustrator, a comic artist. I also do a lot of live play TTRPGs and podcasts. So we do live play podcasts on there, as well as all the different art groups. I'm also on Art Corner, the once a month where we have a lot of people in the chat who ask us if there's a gas leak in any of our houses. So it gives you kind of a vibe for the shows that we do. But no, I like it. Being an at-home illustrator can be very isolating. So having that art community and people asking questions is a really, really nice way to not be alone all the time.
And to just interject, when I did stream, I did actually stream non-video games. I used to do Lego builds, and I used to do like Lego builds when I would do my streaming, so that was always kind of fun. So I do have some of the insight and all the different things that we have to do to make streaming different. So the questions for now is, I know everyone has to do different equipment type things for the streaming that you do. So whoever wants to go first can talk about, like, well, how do you modify your streaming equipment to make it a better stream for the non-video game? Because like a video game, you got your computer, and then you're going to game capture your screen, and you go from there. You don't even have to have a camera if you don't want to. But obviously doing non-video game things, you have to have a camera of some sort, or to capture but a blank screen. And I know, PD, you have some different things with your sound. Definitely want to kind of see how that goes.
Sure.
You want to start?
Yeah, no, I'll start. So streaming pinball, IRL pinball, is kind of a challenge. There is no obvious answers here. My setup is I have just a large, heavy tripod I put to one side of the pinball machine. Boom arm goes over and has a camera facing down over the playfield. Since you're doing something that's like high motion with pinball, you need a camera that can actually do 60 frames per second, and I promise you every webcam that says 60 frames per second is lying. So you'll need like a real camera and to HDMI converter and get it into your PC that way. Then I need another camera to point at the score. I need another camera to point at my beautiful face or to capture my face for the VTubing software. Then you start to run into problems where it turns out that the USB 2 bus can only support about 2.5 cameras. So right, so you have to you have to make sure that you get a laptop that has like both either a Thunderbolt or a USB 3 bus and a USB 2 bus, because they don't share bandwidth. It's just, so there's a lot of stuff you have to consider with your equipment in terms of the limitations of just USB in general. And then the other big thing is to get those 60 frames per second, lighting is critical. To get your good crisp ball movement, I've got to put a lot of light on the playfield. But then you've got the problem of there's a piece of glass. So you get really creative at, if I put the light at just this angle right here, it won't bounce back and hit the camera. And then on some newer pinball machines, I've got some where the screen is an actual just LCD screen. And I mostly stream my own games, so I'll just open the game up and grab the HDMI cable off what would be the score display and plug it into a capture device, so you can see the direct feed, rather than me pointing a camera at a screen. Right. But for an older game, especially I'll stream something that's got score reels and makes bells and chime noises. You got to point a camera at that to get your score. And then the microphone setup is kind of different and interesting, because it's not undifferent from someone who does a podcast where you have to have 2 microphones, because I need one for me and one for the game. So I've got one boom arm going off my tripod that goes right up to the game speaker, and then one right up to my mouth. And the biggest problem you're going to deal with something like pinball is you've got a ton of background noise from the machine. And if you're streaming from a live environment, like if I'm at an arcade or a bar, well, then there's just tons of background noise to deal with. So I have different microphones I use for different locations.
I have actually a lot of the similar issues, and I don't do pinball at all. So I do a lot of watercolor stream and art streams, and specifically the watercolor streams are very interesting because when you put watercolor onto paper, water is reflective. And so not only do I have to make sure that my lighting doesn't reflect into the camera and have a glare, but also into my own eyes so I can see what it is. What does it actually look like? And so off screen I'm doing this. But also the shadows. If the shadows are too angled, my shadows are covering over, and you want to have a crisp, so lights, and you don't want to get the contrast and everything else. So you try to angle. I have multiple lights and multiple temperatures to make sure the colors are good. You can actually get some calibration software for the cameras to make sure the colors are accurate to the colors that they see versus what I'm actually putting out there. So a lot of the same glare. Lighting is super important. Angles, super important.
Yeah.
And same thing, as you upgrade your level of streaming, I went to DSLR and got the really nice cameras that can actually capture. And now I have, it looks like Dr. Octopus at my art table.
Yeah.
I have like one here, I have one coming here at an angle, and then there's one coming at my face. So lighting, I would say, is probably pretty important. And then, you can upgrade to the DSLR and like mirrorless cameras and everything else.
So you have like 3 cameras. You have 3 cameras. Yeah. How many cameras do you use when you?
Well, I have 3, but I'm only using 2 most of the time.
Yeah.
I will say Tony kind of addressed some of the like traditional art, but mostly I'm doing digital art, so I'm just capturing what's happening on the screen. That's pretty basic when it comes to streaming. A couple of things that I've done that have helped me out is I don't have the camera attached to the table that I'm working on.
Yes.
I have a C stand, which is just like a stand for
Microphone
lights or
as
whatever.
well.
Yes.
Microphone
Anything that's going to maybe move around and move out of your space, especially the camera, because if you're drawing, if you're doing your hand movement, your camera's doing this the whole time. So like connecting, like my camera does not touch my table, microphone's off of it. I have actually a clock up there that I can just look in case for roller troll I have to keep an eye on the time at all times. The other only little bonus that I've added is, and for my dice cam for roller troll, I roll a die, there's like a little tray. Actually, my brother gave me the tray. Shout out to my brother.
Yeah. Nice.
But I added a really cheesy hazer to like mix some ambiance, and so I roll the dice into the haze, and people think I'm vaping, but it's okay.
Yeah. The other small thing, you mentioned your clock up there and stuff. I have a little plush next to the camera I'm supposed to look at, so I don't have to think about looking at the camera. I look at the little plush next to it, so I actually have a little bit of a face.
Yeah.
Because it's so awkward to just stare at a camera, and you forget. But if there's a little face there, your eyes just kind of go, oh, yeah, I'm looking at that thing now.
That's one of the things we talk about in like the panels where we get, and people you want to be a streamer, like what's one of the things that you really want to make sure you have, and you want to have something to focus on.
Yeah.
Usually like a stuffed animal or a sticker.
Yeah.
Googly eyes on your camera.
Yeah,
Something,
or that.
so it's not.
You'd be surprised how well that
huge difference.
silly things like
Yeah.
that work.
I have never done that, but I'm totally stealing that.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I mean,
It's great.
yeah. Right now, I just kind of have this glaze into the camera, so
right.
now I'll be able to like,
Yeah.
there's a.
Because you kind of dead eye and you're just like.
Yeah. Then you start naming it, and you call it Wilson, and then everything.
Lose your mind.
That's why we talk to the internet, so we're not just home talking to ourselves.
Right.
Well, and I think this is a really good point, and what helped me a ton, because when we first started, one of our challenges was I wanted to bring on a lot of different guests and have a rotating thing. So because most of them were going to be digital artists, it was not only capturing their face and their art, but then it was bringing in 6 different artists to then all be able to work together on a similar stream. So on my end, it was a lot more of the technical side of it. So what we found out and what we learned from other people from talking and going to panels and upgrading the system as we went is each artist has a webcam on themselves, and then they are capturing their art screen all in OBS, so they're doing a picture-in-picture, and then that virtual camera is what ends up bringing into StreamYard, which is what I use, which is, I can't say nice enough things about it. It's wonderful, and it's very, very handy, and it makes it easy because then their name tag and my ability to move the artists around and then showcase their art when we do our show and tell at the end. I can do all of that from the broadcasting software of StreamYard, and I don't have to then build individual scenes that I have to switch through because I'm also making art while I'm doing it. So is what was easiest for me and easiest for my artists, because a lot of the people I was asking to join on stream weren't streamers. So I needed something that was very easy and free to be able to get them to come and I'm like, please do this thing with me. So again, I'm not just staring into the void. Like, I can look at you and talk to you instead. So that was a big, like, it helps so much having those conversations and hearing what works for people, what didn't work for people, and that open sharing.
Those free things.
Free things. I love free
Just
things.
things.
I had a lot of the same issues because I do a thing called Paint Bros on YouTube where I have like it's like dueling pianos with watercolors. So it's but like, yeah, trying to sync up like, oh, your face, camera, arts, how do we do this stream-wise?
Yep.
I empathize.
What do you use?
I ended up upgrading my streaming software called vMix, which unfortunately isn't as free.
That's okay.
But that's what you do. You start off with
Yeah.
the free stuff. You start off with the
Yeah.
tools that you have, and
Move
then
up.
as you go forward,
Yeah.
you can upgrade and buy better cameras, better microphones, better programs, better. That's the path that we're all
Yeah.
on. Because I definitely never recommend starting off with all the expensive things.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you
No.
like. If you start off and you just buy what everyone tells you is good, you don't know it's good yet.
Yeah.
You don't know what works for you.
Right.
Or even
Figure
if
out
you like
something.
streaming. That's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
So many
Start
people
with
that buy
OBS,
it all
then
and they
figure it
hate
out
it.
from there.
Yeah.
They
OBS
buy
is
all the
great.
equipment, they do all the things, and then it's, that was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
That's
Or-
actually how I kind of got into it. Is I found out. Well, first I found out what Twitch was, and then I watched that for a
Step
while.
one,
Yeah, watched that for a while. Like, oh, people are doing video games, cool. And then I saw someone streaming art one day, and I was like, oh, you can do that? That's a thing you can do. And then I found that a friend of mine, a former coworker, had been on Twitch forever and had like this following, and I was like, and she was kind of keeping it hush hush, but she was like, oh, try it out. Here's a mic. She gave me like a Rode Podcaster or something. It was old,
Whoa.
used. I mean,
That's not a bad
it was
start.
used, and she was like, I just upgraded. Here's a thing. So that to me was like the intro technology, and then I bought like a C920, which was a tiny little camera that, and then I just plugged them in and so I guess we're doing this. I mean, I started without a camera first, and then once I got the camera, but yeah, it was like, oh, these are things we can do on the internet. Let's try it. Yeah.
I feel a little ashamed admitting this. A.B. Scott's not in the room, right?
No, you're
Okay,
good. You're clear.
Cool. So I actually have two different setups, which may or may not be a good thing. I have my downstairs setup for my podcasting. I've got the nice Rodecaster mic. I've got a little Elgato Wave XLR box. It's just basically, it's a little box. It's got a big dial on it. You can change the faceplates. It's fabulous. It's got a mute button, which highly recommend mute buttons. Can we talk about buttons at some point? And then for my upstairs, I have my Cintiq. I have a webcam. I have a Yeti mic. That's why I asked about A.B. Scott. I'm very much like a work in progress when it's coming to streaming, so I'm really thankful for all of the great information.
I think everyone's always a work in
Yeah.
progress
Yeah.
because
You're
if
always
things
updating
change.
and-
Yeah.
New stuff comes out. You find something works better for you. You're in a panel and you hear about a program or a piece of equipment. Go, ooh, that sounds nice. So I think
pretty and
everyone's a work
shiny.
in progress. So,
Part of streaming, I think, comes with that innate curiosity and desire to experiment sometimes.
Yeah.
Like for you to finally figure out what worked for that, like that's crazy, by the way.
Well, and it's fun. It's fun because we recorded them because they're saved. You can go back. You can watch our season 1, episode 1. Like you can see.
That's awesome.
Before we figured it out, when my quality is not great, and we're working on it to where we are now, where there's transitions and there's backgrounds and there's themes, and it is tangible progress, which is sometimes hard to see in what you're doing, and that feels really good because it's like, oh, we did get better. Okay.
Because people get so discouraged when they start and it's not looking or sounding like the people that they watch.
Yeah.
And it's like you have, like with anything, there's a progression of you're not going to be perfect at it the first time, but you got to start.
Yeah. That's the important thing, and we all know what it's like to talk to an empty chat. We all do up here, and we've done it probably more than we care to admit. So
But you still
it's
have
it's
to
a
talk.
thing. But
You
you
still
still
have
have
to
to
talk to the
talk.
influencer,
Right.
whether
Oh,
right
yeah.
there
You
or
still
not.
got to pretend like someone's
Because if
there, and
someone
they're like your
shows
best
up-
friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you're not talking and someone shows up and you're not going to know, and you're going to continue to not talk, and then they're going to leave, and you'll be back to talking to no one.
Yeah.
Hence
Yeah.
why people that talk to themselves are really good at streaming, because you're going to talk anyway. You just talk, and then people magically show up and they listen eventually.
Yeah.
To be fair, I have participated. Thank you, Charles. I have participated in a couple of just like chill streams, where I get on into the chat. The artist is just drawing
Yeah.
and usually listening to music, and there's no pressure to talk. And you just kind of hang out and
Yeah.
vibing.
ASMR art is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is focus streams, like
Yeah.
they'll just
Yeah.
turn
Yeah.
off cameras
Study
and they're
with
just
me.
drawing.
We-
Yeah.
Yep.
Study together type
Yep.
stuff. Like definitely, when you want to stream something that's non-standard, go look at what other people are doing so you understand what kind of, for lack of a better word, the community around that thing does and expects.
The expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think being very transparent in the title of your stream and
yeah,
like
yeah.
the letting people know what they're getting into is such an easy like, oh, okay, I'm showing up and I understand this and I can already vibe with you.
Yeah.
Like when I used to do my coloring streams, we just did music, and it was Friday afternoon, and it was like Friday lunchtime, and like it was just chill. There was no talking. It was just hanging out, ending the week, like, whatever. And that was that expectation. But the other streams during the week were chatter, chatter, chatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough what you said about like knowing the community that you're with, like just
Yeah.
wait, that art community on Twitch during pre-COVID, like
Oh yeah,
stuff
it was super small.
was super small and super integrated and super
Welcoming
supportive,
and- yeah.
and
Yeah.
it is know your community. Don't feel like you're an island on your own.
Then it's understanding convention, like, because there's a certain amount of like just expectation of like the viewers expect a certain thing, and you should. I mean, I'm not saying you have to conform to it entirely, but you should at least know what the baseline is, so you're deciding how you're deviating from it.
Well, like with your tarot streams, like people assume if they're coming to a tarot stream, they're going to get readings, there's going to be talking, there's going to be things that go on. If you're not
My
doing
tarot
that,
streams are different.
yeah, but you still do readings, and if
I
people
do.
go into his tarot stream and it's just someone flipping cards all the time, they're probably not going to stick around very long.
There are no wind chimes. There is no sage. There is only loud, blaring industrial music and me tearing people anew.
It's
They are loud. And I've gone through a lot of different art streams too, and some artists play chill music, some artists play the loud, screamy music, some have, nature sounds in the background. There's so many different, things that you can do but that's the community that you set up. Like, what do you want your vibe to be? What do you want people to see when they come into your streams? And that's on any stream, on any topic, really. Like, you have people that play, Call of Duty and scream and yell and throw things, and then you have people that are just super chill about it. So... But now we are going to get to the point in our panels, because I like to do this because it's a lot more fun, is we take questions from everybody, because we can only talk so much. And I know,
We're streamers. We can go a couple hours.
I figure people come to a panel like this to learn
may
about,
not make sense, but we can
things that we do. So we want to at least kind of direct the conversation to what they want to hear, not what we want to hear ourselves say.
Yes.
So, first question.
All right, from the stream, hidden within me says I do a variety of stuff, but one I try to do is garden stuff. So I'll go through seeds for the years and plants, cleaning up my garlic and those kind of things. One thing I debated was planting outside in the garden itself, maybe talking about it some of vegetables, pests, all those things. I don't know how I would manage cameras outside and a computer inside, or is it worth doing?
So when I did my Lego streams, I used my phone as the camera, because if your Elgato has a program on your phone that as long as your phone is on the same Wi-Fi network as your computer, you can use your phone as an additional camera, and makes it super easy. And it's free. So that would be something really easy. Get something you can wear your phone on, like when people do the jogging or whatever, or something you mount on your head. I don't know. You can look really weird. Who knows? And that would be a really great way to do it. And maybe have a laptop or an iPad or something that you can read your chat on, and is a little bit more portable than a desktop. That would be my thought.
Then you could do a tax write-off on buying a new phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have one piece of advice. Get yourself a heavy tripod if you're
Yes.
doing a camera.
Oh,
I
true.
can't tell you how many cameras I have broken because the wind knocked the tripod over.
What you want is a tripod like that that's meant for a speaker, not for a camera.
Heavy
Has
stuff.
more weight.
Yeah. That's why I use it for my pinball setup.
Yeah.
Mine's just cats knocking stuff over.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That too.
Oh, she's so helpful. I love it. I'd say also something to consider is if you wanted to, if you were tracking progress, there's nothing against filming the different progress stages of it and then replaying the video and talking over it while you're streaming, and that way you could kind of pause and zoom in on stuff. So you could then have full control over essentially editing the video as you were going while you were doing that. So if you didn't want to risk it and do it live.
I mean, what I would say with a stream like that is it's a really, like the entry point of just doing it purely off your cell phone is really low, and it'll teach you whether or not this is something you want to do. And then once you cross that barrier, then you can start looking into, okay, I want more control over what I'm doing. Then you bring in the laptop. Then you decide that, okay, I need a better camera, and so on and so forth. But start small. Yeah. Start with just the tiniest thing that'll work, which is going to be your phone, and then work from there.
It's like gardening. Yeah. You start with one seed.
All right, your question?
Okay, so I'm a Warframe player. I stream it as well, so I'm used to like talking to myself when I play the game, and I do that when I stream. But I'm also wanting to get into streaming building Gunpla. My question is, what would you suggest people to do if they want to practice the art of like talking to themselves, right?
Yeah,
like what?
Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really, well, I mean, obviously listen to other people, see what they're doing, but it's, like when I play pinball, I could sit there and tell everybody what I'm doing the whole time and why I'm making this shot, and why I would bore them to tears. There's only so many times I can explain the same game. So just talk about whatever you want to talk about. So it's going to be a mix between what you're narrating what you're doing and just talking about what's on your mind. Like, because people are going to come and watch a stream not necessarily for exactly what you're doing, but because it's you.
Yeah.
And so just be yourself, talk about what you want to talk about, do a little bit of narration, and I think you can find a healthy mix doing that where you're going to keep yourself talking the entire time.
There's a wonderful exercise that I don't remember where I heard it from, but if you film yourself talking for 5-10 minutes, when you rewatch it, watch it once, not looking at the screen and just listening, right, to your audio. So the ums, the likes, the ahs, the pauses that you might have, and then watch it once without the audio and just looking at yourself. Are you kind of doing this? Because you are going to be on camera, right? And you know, are you looking at the camera? How often you're doing it? Because you're going to be working on some stuff too. So do some of those tests so that you can gain in a small time capsule what your sort of habits are, and then practice in those 5-10 minute increments of just doing that
And do the
will help.
recordings without
Yeah.
being live, like just kind of get
you
that
do,
idea.
you obviously do that without being live and just kind of go through those exercises.
And I would just say, don't be afraid of your own personality, because that's what's going to set you off apart. You know, like what do you like? What do you lean into? You know, those type of things. Getting that out there in the middle of explaining something is perfect. So yeah, just all that practice.
Yeah. You can even treat yourself like you're interviewing yourself. Like you can think up questions of stuff you want to talk about. Because I know once in a while when I get live, I was like, I had things I was going to talk about today, and I have completely
I always
forgotten.
make a list.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. If you don't know what you're going to talk about, especially at the beginning of streaming, before your stream, make a list of things that you want to talk about. So if you're at a dead part of your stream where you're really struggling to talk about something, you have a list. So you go, oh yeah, I want to talk about this, and then you can go on that.
Yeah, and I use sometimes I use chat as my working memory. So I'll get on and I'll be like, hey, we're going to talk about this today, and we're going to do a little bit of this. And then later on, I'll be like, hey, what was I going to talk about? And then they'll engage and say, hey, and then sometimes they'll bring up stuff that you weren't going to talk about, but then you could.
Make them work for you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But it's good too, because then I think that's a reason why people don't just watch like a YouTube video. They come to the stream because they want that interaction. And that's a nice, like, being able to play off of that. For one of my first streams, I just made one of my friends be on video call with me so that I could talk to somebody. Because I was just like, we'll just talk. We'll just talk and figure it out. And that helped so much, just becoming comfortable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Nania Productions on Twitch. How do you come up with titles? Because sometimes I'll stream and my title will literally say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something.
You're working on, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't find the title is honestly the thing that drives people in. What drives people in is going to be your tags, because you can do your analytics afterwards and see what tags people searched on. And then the other one is going to be that thumbnail. Like if you have a captivating thumbnail, that goes a huge way. So you need to make sure that your stream, like, if someone's looking at the browse page and they see 20 streams, what is it about yours that's going to jump out?
And feel free to like go outside of being fully the creative point on that, like your favorite song lyric, your favorite movie quote, or whatever else. Those are little things that'll give personality and sort of a vibe to what your stream is, not necessarily you have to come up with something fully original.
Your title can be, what's your favorite Taco Bell order?
Yeah.
So when people come in your stream, they answer that question if they're paying attention.
Yeah,
You know,
if I'm painting something Star Wars, I might put a Star Wars quote on there, right? Like it's not.
These are all great. I'm really bad at this part. I will go
really
live.
good at the teaching part, not the doing.
Well, I would go live with old, like, you know, like we're carving pumpkins or, you know, drawing something, and it's like Christmas. You know, like, let me change that.
I'm probably going to do a K-pop, you know, Demon Hunters one, and I'm going to put a lyric from
let's
Golden,
go.
right? You know, so
Yes.
so it'll be a lyric from that. I don't know.
So you can also lean into the uncertainty and kind of build it as its own little like weird series where it's like, this is my I don't know stream, and it's part, 2 of 3, because then it's like, well, what was the other part? Like it's
Everything is always part of something else.
100%.
Right. Yeah, every time just like, part 7 of 36. And like, never have ever explained.
yeah. So that can be fun, but yeah, that's
I mean, I just get it. It's like it is one of the. If you're looking for what to optimize for discoverability, you are way down in the not gonna matter. Like it's just the title is just not what brings people in.
Although on YouTube they like to do the whole like, this person said what? And like capitalize the letters,
Yeah,
do like
that's
the
a whole
clickbait.
different-
Yeah, that's a whole
Right.
different sort of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You all mentioned having other people on your streams, like drawing with them and stuff. How do you go about finding people and asking them to be on stream with you?
Networking, streaming groups,
I do a lot of conventions.
Are you a local to Atlanta?
I'm not.
Okay, because I know, and you probably have it in your city as well, Atlanta has a local streaming community that is powered by Twitch, and we do monthly events, we do quarterly events, we have a Discord. So for things like that, for our city, you can find people that way. So if you are in another city, you can actually go on Twitch, it's Twitch/meetups, and you can actually find if there's one in a city that's close to you. So you can join those meetup groups and find local people, or you can try to find one in a different area. Like, join like the Digital Media Track Discord here. You can meet up with people that way. It's just a lot of the networking and stuff.
Awesome.
You could raid into other small streamers, and you'll show up, and you'll be like, "Yo, who are you?" And then you introduce yourself, and you're like, "All right, everyone, shout out this guy who just raided me. Go check him out."
Yeah.
Well, like I find like find streamers you like that maybe are like potential raid targets.
And ask.
Go watch them for a while, get integrated into their community, then show up with the raid.
Yeah.
And that's when they figure out that you're a streamer.
Yeah.
Because don't self-advertise. Everybody hates that.
Yeah.
But you do it in that direction, then they start to get to know you. They're like, oh yeah, they're pretty good. And then you show up with a pile of viewers, and then they're like, oh, okay, now I see you're a streamer. And then they'll come look at your stuff, and then you two of you can start talking, and then you can do a collab.
Yeah. If you're looking for creatives, like there's a lot of them out there that are very open to that, and just contact them, get into their DMs or whatever else. For as long as you have a process and do it, have a few that they can see as an example of what you do, and come sketch with me for an hour.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Hi, so I have been streaming for about 8 years. Started with cell phone on a shoebox, like literally bare minimum.
Correct answer.
Yep. Love it.
So throughout those 8 years, I've been doing a lot of upgrading of my equipment, and I do variety streams, so I have several different setups for different things that I do. But specifically right now, I'm looking at an overhead setup. And so you had mentioned a little bit about like tripods and things that you use to counterweight like heavier cameras and stuff like that. Is there a specific like brand or company you would use for that?
So I have it's called a Magic Arm, I believe, and if you contact me, I have a whole Amazon like list of everything, but it allows you to lock a joint so it doesn't like vibrate. And so as long as you have a tripod with enough weight to handle the angle, like you can have it at like a 90-degree angle, like straight across, and it'll stay locked.
Okay.
And they'll hold anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds. So,
Nice.
which is a weight of a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was mentioning, speaker tripods are great.
Yeah.
They're big, but they're very heavy, and they will say you can boom the arm out, like 4 or 5 feet, and put 5 pounds on the end of it, and it's not going to budge.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at my Instagram, there's a link on my profile, and in that is a bunch of links. One of them is an Amazon list of watercolors and streaming.
And we'll
gear
give out
everything
everybody's
else.
links
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm curious to know what, for thoughts from all of you about, in relation to doing particularly art on stream, the balance between, especially when you said about having like 1,000 cameras sort of pointing, that it becomes kind of awkward to do the art and what the impact on the art itself actually is, or even in a digital capacity, the knowing when to save your enthusiasm for art for on stream versus still being able to do it for fun or something off camera, and how that kind of balance is struck.
Yeah. One of the things I know for me as an artist is like know where your flexibility in streaming lies. Like for instance, when I am penciling, I've done it on stream a little bit, but I know I get quiet because that's when the problem solving really happens, and I just forget to talk for long stretches of time. So for me, on a really small level, I just try to have the pencils done before I start painting, or the sketch. So understand sort of that part of it. Outside of that, the little awkwardness sometimes where you're dodging, and for me, that's alleviated by having an active chat, right? I forget that I have to dodge this camera that's like right here every once in a while, or if I have a hat and it accidentally hits it, that it's part of the stream, it's part of the fun. But I do make sure that I have time on my own, because I do conventions, and I've done streaming. I do less streaming now because of conventions, to have those moments that I'm off and just I figure out like, what do I want to paint for me, and that's when I experiment with other things. But I do have those moments, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of my rendering, like I'm working digitally, so I'm like, I know this task is going to take a while, and I would start streaming. I stopped doing that a little bit. I don't do that as much now because I like that time for myself, and I keep focused on the artwork. What I do now is I stream warm-ups, like really quick, loose things, but that allows me to move on quickly, do something else, do something new. And when I'm doing Roller Troll, there are those moments where I've been, Chad has voted for this troll option that's not the best thing, but it's challenging, which is the whole point of the show. Yeah. And I will be like, all right, chat, you chose this. I'm going to get quiet. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Hashtag blame chat.
Yeah.
And it works out. They all talk, and then they're like shouting to try to get my attention, and then they're spamming.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh yeah, hey chat.
Yeah.
And I've already done the thing. So, but as far as like something that I think is a personal piece or something I'm really invested in, I do more times than not keep that for myself when I'm not streaming. I might talk about it or show a picture of it.
Do a little bit of it online. And then
Exactly. Just enough to like, hey, I am working on stuff that's not just the warm-ups, and these are some of the things. Sometimes I will do some rendering still, but I do like to keep little things just for myself.
I am very, very quiet on art streams because of, working through the sketch and everything. And that's when I really kind of rely on the other people on the stream to cause all of the chaos and to, get everything going, because they can multitask better, I guess. But yeah, working with other people who can kind of like lift you up where you feel you were weak is just a huge impact.
And sometimes having someone on audio moderator that's like chatting and talking, like that. The few times I've had it, I was like, I now understand why people do that.
Yes, that inviting a couple of people who were non-drawing participants onto the drawing show was so nice, because like, I can just be an artist. I don't have to be artist and moderator while I'm doing it. Because I think we're all guilty of it. You get in your head, because it's such a thoughtful process when you are building out this stuff and how is this going to work and all of that. I also struggle with being able to keep conversation while I'm doing that. Being at convention helps sometimes too, because I will be talking to people at my table while I'm drawing, But there's a very specific point where I was like, oh no, I can do one or the other, and
Yeah.
both will suffer if I try and keep doing them
Yeah.
both at the same time. I don't do a lot of traditional art for that reason, because I like to be in the experience of the tactile part of it. So with my digital, I feel like because of the way the screen is, that works well for the setup. And then I'm not also trying to manage all my pens and all of my other things, because I'm a little lazy when it comes to that. And I don't want to do it and talk to people. But I miss that part. I miss getting to show my traditional art as well while I'm doing stuff, because I don't always want to work digitally. But if the barrier to entry of me streaming is it's too much to do too much to do traditional art, so I won't do it, then I'd rather do the digital and still do the stream than not do it at all.
Thank you.
First of all, I apologize if somebody's asked these already because I had to come in late. But I'm curious. First of all, what makes you feel like you're succeeding as a streamer? And second of all, what's your favorite thing about streaming and being engaging with a stream?
The random friendships that happen along the way.
It's the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. You know, like seeing him in person, I was like, wait, people exist in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to be here until I saw him on this panel, and I was like, oh. Yeah.
So this kind of it gets you've delved into the philosophical. What makes you successful is something that you have to define for yourself. If you allow the platform to define what success is, that, oh, you're on your path to partner, look how many views you drive yourself insane.
Yeah.
Remember, you're doing this for you, not for Twitch or whatever platform you're on. So figure out what matters to you and judge your success on how well are you doing at those things. For me in particular, like as somebody who streams a niche hobby like pinball, I love when I get somebody who is an art streamer who I hang out with, and then they watch my stream, and then they DM me at 4 a.m. like, I went out to a bar and I played pinball, it was the greatest thing ever. Those are my wins, is when I get somebody to play pinball who would never have played it before.
Yeah.
Or, with the tarot stuff, when I get people, it's the people who come back week after week, after every time I give them hell, and they still come back for the beatings because it's fun. And so I judge my success by, the people who choose to be part of the community and people who go out and play pinball. I don't care what the little number in the corner says. That is the thief of joy if you base your success on
But that's
that.
not saying that's negative either, because to some people, the sign of success is, did they make money?
Yes.
Or how many people watch them, or are they recognized
And that's
in
what
public?
you have to define.
And
define
so
for
it's
yourself.
like, whatever is success to you is for you and not negative for somebody else. Like, you don't care about the money that much. You're like, whatever, I want to play and have fun. Because it costs you sometimes more money to stream pinball
I
than...
drink more in beer per stream than I make in
Yes,
bits.
you do. I think your pinball machines cost more than you've ever made on Twitch.
Oh, God, yes.
So you do it for fun, you
Right.
know, and
My tarot decks
and I
are
think
worth
like
more than my
during
Twitch stream.
COVID, when you started your art streams, it was you wanted the connection with people, the isolation. So being able to connect with people, that's the success for you, and it's just really defining like what that is for each person, and that can be different. And there's not a wrong answer either.
Yeah, and I've taken breaks from. I mean, I've always been streaming some since, even if it wasn't on Twitch. But it's always after the stream. I'm like, did I enjoy that? Was that good? And yeah, that was awesome. That's the success. And I don't look at numbers. It's like that because I'm going to be doing it anyway. I'm like, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to draw. People come in. I can talk to them. That's cool. That's fun.
Sometimes there's surprises either way. I'm like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
you can. There's no winning, right? You'll hit a number and you're like, oh, I could have done better, or you hit a number like, holy cow.
And the way that the algorithm changes so quickly, like chasing that will also drive you crazy. And in an upside, I guess, to having been a professional artist for a while, like that was beaten out of me very early on, where I was like, no, if you judge by only that, like the number of sales you make at convention, like you will lose your joy. Exactly like you said, it's the thief of joy.
If you had 2 people standing there for an hour watching you draw, like, you'd be like, oh, that's really cool. That you would just sit there and watch me draw, So
But like on the other side of things, if you want it to be a job, let it be a job.
Yeah.
But if you don't want it to be a job, don't turn it into a
one.
job.
Yeah.
I actually fear the numbers. Like, if I get up to 10 people, I'm like, wow, there's so many of you. Like, I definitely do it for the entertainment for both myself and the viewer, and just kind of the community that comes from that. And, you know.
Yeah. Some of my favorites are, like, I love a first-time chatter popping in, be like, what is going on? Like, that's, it's so good, and it's so fun. And I think that's some of the, talking about, I love streaming with other people, and the times where we are cracking ourselves up so much and just having so much fun. Like, yeah, it's awesome that people are also there hanging out with us, but, like, the pure joy of that, of getting to make stuff with my friends, is the best part of it, and that community that then came up from around that has been the best part of all of it.
Also, when you post like on your socials, like, hey, I'm streaming in like 5 minutes, and you're in the stream, and someone you never expected to come to your stream comes to your stream, it's like, oh, you're here, you're at the party. It's like no greater high.
Called out, huh?
Who could that be?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
How do you keep like motivation up? Like, I know everyone says like, oh, you need to keep up a schedule, but sometimes I struggle with that because like I for a very long time was struggling a little bit mentally, and I was like, okay, when I want to stream, I want to have like a positive attitude, and sometimes it's just like I do not want to get out of bed, or like I get off work and I'm like, I don't want to do anything. But even though streaming and talking to chat about literally, I guess, my life, brings me so much joy, it's like, how do I keep like that up? Or like I'm streaming and then I run out of things to talk about, and I'm like, let's pull out a game. And then I stop talking altogether because then I get focused on the game, and it's just like, I am not entertaining you guys anymore. How do I keep being entertaining?
If I get to that point, I just usually end the stream. Because it's like, if you're not in there mentally, if you're just not being able to be the best version that you want to be at that moment, sometimes it's not good to continue that. Because people can see that struggle, and it's like, you want to put your best face forward. You want to be, entertaining. And I've done streams when I was streaming that it'd be after 45 minutes, it's just like I can't hold a conversation anymore. So okay, we're done after 45 minutes. Why do I got to keep going? Who says that you have to go for an hour? Who says you have to go for 2 hours? Who says you have to go for 3 hours?
There's this exercise that helped me out a lot when I had the day job and trying to be an artist and everything else, because you're tired for all sorts of reasons and exhausted. Mine was, I had like a little 10-minute rule. Like, I can do 10 minutes, and maybe it's 45 minutes for streaming or something like that, but I can do 10 minutes of art any time of day. And if I hit that 10 minutes and I don't feel like doing it anymore, I'm going to stop. I'm going to let it go. But if I hit that 10 minutes, sometimes just like, I'm just going to force myself to do 10 minutes of sketching. And then you get to that 10 minutes and you're like, oh, well, this is turning out pretty, I'm going to keep going. And it ends up being like you're there for an hour, 2 hours, just going off on it. So I think part of it is, like you said, no one says that you have to sit down and be fully entertaining 100% of your 110% all the time, right? And just realize when it's low energy or it's just not coming together, and take a moment for yourself.
I'll add to that. This comes with a little bit of experience, but there are some times where I can get into a mood of, I feel not my best, but if I know I'm going to feel better after I do this thing, versus there are times where it's like, I don't feel my best and I really don't think I'm going to feel better after this. So that's kind of my gauge, is this ultimately going to be a net positive?
Yeah, and you were talking a bit about consistency, and I know that's like a big thing, try to keep your schedule. I have a schedule where, it's like once a week, 10 a.m. Thursdays, but if I have a deadline or I have something else, I'm just going to sneak on the chat, on the Discord, and be like, I'm not streaming today, sorry, catch you up next week. You're making your own rules. That's the thing.
And if you build a good community, they're going to understand that you're human. You're human. Like, that's what it comes down to. You have ups and down days, you have a job, you have family, you have things that sometimes take priority over streaming. Even if streaming is your job, you can still call in sick to a regular job on occasion. So you have to make sure that you put yourself first no matter what it is. And if your community doesn't support that, they're not a good community for you. Like now, a lot of my not streaming for the last year has been a mental health thing. And So I'll go stream, and I'm so surprised that when I do stream, which I did last month for like a little bit, people show up. I'm like, really?
Yeah, we show up and tell you, where have you been?
I know. You're as bad as the Animal Crossing characters. Like I log on my Animal Crossing after like.
It's been 15 months.
I
missed you.
They'll be like, we thought you died. I'm like, this is a game. Why are you calling me?
I will say for me, the running the group in seasons was the way that I got around that, because I also, for the majority of the time, worked full time, also went to conventions, did all this stuff. Like, the limits on my time were enough that I was like, I can't keep a consistent schedule. And the stress of trying to do that, even though I know, like, I understand logically that that's the way that this needs to happen and that's how growth will happen, but it's like, I can't do it. So I had to build it out in a way that worked for me. And much like everybody said, the transparency with the community of just being like, hey, here's what we're trying to do. Maybe not, but hopefully. And it was very nice to see that the support never really left. The people were still excited. So then when you do come back, you get the like, hey, it's nice to see you again. And that helps a ton.
All right, so now we are going to veer off towards wrapping everything up. We do have our charity thing down there. Someone wants to read it. Who's closer? Because I can't.
Do the ad read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like I'm doing it.
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
I haven't heard one today, so I have no idea what we're doing.
You just read
let's
it.
see.
It's all of our
We're
wonderful
starting
Dragon
down
Con
here?
charity. Yes.
You are not alone. No matter how you've been affected by mental illness, please know that you are welcome here. NAMI's GA's goals advocate for the county, state, and national level of non-discriminatory access to quality health care, housing, education, and employment for people with mental illness. Educate the public about mental illness. Work to eliminate the stigma of mental illness. Support individuals and families by mental illness. Make your donation. It says here.
Yeah.
Here.
This is a Dragon Con
Oh,
charity
and there's
for
a
the
big
year.
one.
Yeah.
Big one. So, Dragon Con does match all the donations at the end of the con, so anything that you have will be doubled, and it'll be a great thing, as all of us struggle with that anyway.
At the Artist Alley, there's artwork that you can bid on, and those bids go to that as well, so you can get something for your bid if you're interested.
And then everyone's going to go through and say where we can find
So
you.
we went to Artist Alley. Where would we find you?
Yeah.
I'm in the Artist Alley booth D3, and you can find me online, Tony Moy. I'm pretty much the only watercolorist out there. But if you were interested in the book earlier that I talked about, the history, you can go to 40 spelled out, second.com. And you'll learn a bit more about that. It's also on Webtoons for free if you're interested in reading that for free.
So you can find me on twitch.tv/pb_undesirables. I've got cards if you want one. Also, I will be back in this room at 5:30 doing a panel on VTubing, which is another kind of jumping back to kind of the topic of getting motivated. If one of the things that keeps you from getting on stream is just appearance, boy, it's great to hide behind a cartoon. So if you want to learn all about that, it's going to be me and a couple friends just talking about being VTubers.
You can find me wandering the halls of DragonCon. Well, at some point we'll be Star Trek pirate captains. But you can always also find me on Instagram at Wade Acuff. I also have some cards if you want to grab one. There's also a panel tomorrow at 8:30. I think that's in the Crystal Ballroom. It's all about imposter syndrome. So
Ooh, that one was fun. That
yeah,
one last
so-
year. I had no idea why I was on that.
So that'll be tomorrow night, and I think that's. You can also catch Roller Troll on Mondays. I'll tell you all about it if you want to ask about it.
You can find me at linktr.ee, that's Linktree. KCD Studios, that's KCD because my name is hard to spell. You're going to find the podcasts I do. I do an Animorphs podcast. I do a Pokemon TTRPG podcast. You're going to find my webcomic there, which I highly encourage you all to read because it's free.
And really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Swan, a Swan named Emily, all across the internet. That's pretty much any of the socials. I tried to grab them even on ones I don't post a ton on. So you can find that there. You can see us later tonight in Galleria 6. Tonight is the Loodle Crew. So if you want to see some art after dark, 18 plus, we are doing that, and also all that art will auction off for charity.
Nice.
So that is a super fun time. It is super lewd time. So
Adults only.
Adults only, yes. So that's super fun. And also, shameless plug, for some of the artists that I work with and stream with, we are running a Kickstarter right now. So we are illustrating some live play TTRPG. There was a whole nightmare experience that the characters went through. So there's 4 stories, 4 different artists, and I got to be one of the artists on that. So we're kickstarting that right now, which I'm super excited about. So if you want to see my art, that's a thing that you could own a piece of art right in November, December, because that's when it's going to ship out. Or if you get the PDF, then sooner. But yeah, that's me.
And I'm Phaedra Black. You can find me at phaedrablack.com, Faydra. And we will be here on Sunday with Meet Atlanta content creators. So you can meet lots of local content creators if you are here for collaborations, things like that. And then there's another panel later that afternoon called So You Want to Be a Streamer, to get into streaming. And we will really get into the basic equipments and how to get started with that for all of those streamers. Some of my other stuff will be... we have Parenting in the Digital Age later today, so, if you want to check that one out, that one's always fun, and how to deal with your kids in the internet when they're somewhat smarter than us. And then we have one more thing we want to do before we all head out.
Yeah, I have the first 30 pages of my graphic novel that'll be coming out soon, and this comic. Does anyone have birthdays this weekend? Anyone?
My birthday was the 25th.
Okay, you're close. You're close enough. My birthday, my birthday is February 28th. Anyone there? End of it. Yeah.
I'm the 17th as well.
17.
Fight.
Huh? 15.
There can only be one.
Yeah.
February 17th or March?
February.
February? Oh, okay. Well, you two are closest, so you two get one.
Everybody's so nice
Happy
and
early
polite.
birthday.
I know, right?
These are signed, and if you make it up to the Artist Alley, I'll do a free remark inside for you.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us on Streaming Beyond Video Games. Please rate us in the app so you can see us again next year.
Yep. Thank you very much.
5 stars and only 5 stars. There is only one rating. It is 5 stars. It's like Uber. If you don't give us 5 stars, we get in trouble.
Yes.
Charles will punish us.
He's in the back. He's watching us right now.
They won't let us come back.
Panelists, make sure you sign the poster.
Yes.